Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is Catherine and this is So Much Sewing. So Much Sewing is my home sewing adventures. So if you are as obsessed with sewing as I am, I hope you'll stick around. This video is my planning session around planning a sort of a mini capsule module collection of clothing for a trans-seasonal period. I'm going to work from sort of autumn to winter in my transitional wardrobe. So the pieces I'm going to be showing you are ranging from sort of lighter weight things for the start of the end of summer, the start of autumn, right the way through to heavier sort of winter weight outerwear. Nothing too warm and snuggly. I mean, I do live in New Zealand where the climate is quite temperate, but I will say that the winters here in Christchurch are so much colder than the winters I've been used to for the last 20 years in Auckland. So I don't actually know how these wintry pieces are going to work in my winter wardrobe. We did move to Christchurch or Canterbury in winter in July, so right in the middle of winter last year, but I wasn't working at that time and I was just at home most of the time, all snugly warm. We've got an amazing fire in our house and it warms the whole house, so I really have no idea what Canterbury winters are like at these days. So I'm just going to play it by ear and see how I go. These things that I'm going to be showing you and talking about will at least be, useful pieces if I do need something warmer for, in the depths of winter. I can just make something else, can't I? So there's a lot of fabrics and a lot of patterns. And so I'm going to split this video into two videos to talk about. First of all, in this video, I'll talk about the sort of heavier weight outerwear pieces or the sort of cardigan, coatigan type patterns. I'll talk about those first, and then in the next video, I'll talk about the things, and these things I probably will actually end up making first, but these are the lighter weight, the dresses and the tops. And I might even do a third video where I talk about extra things that I think I'm likely to want to pop into the mix, things that are sort of mulling around in the back of my head that I've been wanting to do for a while. And you know what it's like, I've got all these big plans and I would love it if they all came to fruition, if I'd made every single one of them. But the reality is I will probably only end up making half of these items, I don't know. So, and of course, you like to have a little bit of, spontaneity with your sewing, don't you? If something does catch your eye, you want to be able to pop that into the mix. I don't want to be too rigid, but I feel pretty excited about having this sort of overall plan. I've tried to plan a sort of a capsule wintry wardrobe 2 other times before and life got in the way and I wasn't able to complete my plan. So I really hope that I'm going to be able to see this through and, as I say, at least make some of these items. So these are the amazing fabrics that I have to create this sort of autumny, wintry, trans-seasonal capsule module collection. These are fabrics, I've got a big stash and these are fabrics that I've been sitting on for ages in my stash, but I want to use them. I want to use the things that I have spent my hard-earned money on and not leave them sitting in the wardrobe in these doors behind me here. I want to use them and I want to wear them. And another theme is that I'm not going to think too hard about this. I'm not going to concentrate on every single detail and go, this pattern's not right because of that, and I want to put this pattern with this pattern and change things around. I mean, I might do that, but I'm just going to go with the flow. Find a pattern, make a pattern. find a pattern, make a pattern. And that way, hopefully this will not be a stressful process. I don't want it to be stressful. I want it to be fun. I want it to be creative. And I'm really excited about getting started on this collection. So what I'll do is I'll just show you the fabrics that you have seen in the pictures that I've popped up here. I've just got them sitting down here next to me, and one by one I'll show them to you and talk about the patterns that I have in mind for them. Please excuse the strange light. It's a weird day today, and the light keeps coming and going. It's again the middle of summer here, but we are supposedly going to get torrential rain, lightning, thunder, all that sort of stuff, and the light is quite low. So shall I turn the light on? No, that just makes me look ghostly. I'll turn it back off again. I think that lighting is as good as it's going to get, so apology guys. I probably won't notice as I'm talking whether it's coming in or out or not, so I hope the light lasts the distance. But here's the first fabric. This is a khaki coloured cotton twill. I purchased this back in the day when I was larger, and so I was buying larger cuts of fabric, and recently I've been buying smaller cuts. I've been buying sort of 2 meters and 2.5 meters, and I've sort of been thinking it's not often been quite enough. I might go back to my standard of 3 to 3.5 meters, because when you've got 3 to 3.5 meters, I mean, yes, I guess a lot of the times you can waste some fabric, but you might end up with an offcut of 1 meter. But I figure that kind of size is something you can do something with later, and that's something that I do want to explore when I've got a bit more time, is putting some of my scraps together and doing some scrap busting, but coming up with something that doesn't look like I'm putting all my scraps together, coming up with something really cool. So that is, for further down the track. But what I was saying and waffling on about was that I've got about 3.5 meters of this. So I can do something really, really big with it. This is quite a good weight cotton twill in this nice khaki colour. It's coming up quite true to colour on the screen here, true to real life. And it does have a little bit of stretch in it vertically. So I don't know, I can't remember the exact makeup of it, but I know it's cotton. It might have some elastane in it, or I suppose that could be just mechanical stretch. I don't really know, but that is the first piece of fabric. And what did I have in mind for that one? None of these are set in stone, or some of them are set in stone, but these are just some ideas I have for these fabrics. And I'm going to try not to flap things around my microphone, because I've got a nasty habit of doing that. So this khaki here may possibly be the Smith woven jacket, in which case I would have quite a bit of fabric left over, but I think that would be quite cool as a Smith woven jacket, a sort of a military look jacket. I also had the idea of making the Nenuphar jacket, but making it longer, extending the length of it at the bottom. I think this would look quite good in a longer line, sort of coatigan type thing. It's quite a nice weight. It would be a nice heavy extra layer for wearing inside, and it probably even would do as an outerwear coat for sort of autumn times. So if I made the Nenuphar jacket longer and make it sort of knee length perhaps, or even ankle length, but that's a couple of ideas for this fabric. The next fabric I have here is, again, it's been in my stash for a very long time, and I'm not sure what to do with it. I did have a khaki colour, an olivey khaki colour, very similar to the last fabric I showed you, that I made a hazelwood top out of by Tessuti, and I love that top, I really do. But this fabric is not like comfy and snuggly. It's quite stiff. It's a cotton rib, and I seem to recall this was from Turkey, I think. So I purchased this a really long time ago, and I've got 3 meters of it. But it's, yeah, like I say, it's not comfy and snuggly so that you would want, I don't really want it next to my skin. So I thought I would make a sort of a jackety thing out of it. And what I was thinking was, if I made the Tessuti Brooklyn coat. This coat is designed for boiled wool, so it's got raw edges on it. You don't have to finish the edges, so you need a fabric that doesn't fray. This doesn't fray. This is the raw edge here that was cut, 3 years ago. That's the selvage there. That's the selvage. So I'm finding it hard to see. The light's really low. That's the wrong side. Selvage edge and the cut edge. So you can see it cuts really nicely. I would just have to be very careful and cut it nicely and not have any raggedy edges. But I think that made in the Brooklyn coat would be a great indoor coatigan. And again, for cooler weather, it could be an outdoor overcoat, overpiece. So I love this colour, and I think it goes, I think all the fabrics I've chosen, I think go quite well together. There are a couple of standalone colours, but I think everything will work. Most things will work well together. And I think this would just be a really easy thing to throw on and be quite warm. Like I say, not overly comfortable, but it'll be like wearing a big blanket. So I think it will work. Another idea I had was with the raw edges is I could even do some sort of strips, almost like a bias binding, whether I do strips of the same fabric or whether I have contrasting fabric or some actual bias binding, and just along the raw edges maybe do a strip of fabric. And especially if I got something that was a bit frayy. Oh, actually, I've got the perfect thing in mind. I just had a look, but I can't find it. But I did make a Martha dress by Dorada Davies out of a Georgette fabric, a viscose Georgette. The colour is very, very similar to this. And if I cut a strip of that and sewed that along any raw edge, A, it would give it a bit more stability, and B, it would give it a bit of added interest, and the Georgette would start fraying on each edge, and that could look quite good after a few washes. You've seen this before. This is a quilted, I think it's almost entirely man-made. I'm not sure the makeup of this, but there's a lot of man-made fibre in here, and that's fine because it's going to be an outer piece. Did I just show you the wrong side? I might have. It's quilted. That's the back of it. That's the front of it. It is black, though it's coming up as sort of a blue, almost a black currant sort of a colour that I can see on the screen, or a deep charcoaly. Anyway, it is black. And this, I don't have a lot of this. I do. I've got 2.5 meters, I think, of this. And so I actually don't know what I'm going to make out of this at the moment. It could be again, this doesn't fray, so it could be something like the Brooklyn coat by Tessuti. It is very thick. It could be a top. It could be something like the Seamwork Victoria top. I've made a couple of this pattern, one in a dress and one in a top, and I love it. I love the neck on it. Everything's perfect about it. So that actually would be really cool as one of those Victoria tops. But it would be very, very heavy. I don't know if it would be too heavy to wear, in an office or when you go out shopping or whatever I'm doing. I think that would just be too heavy. I don't think our winters are quite that cold, but anyway, we shall see. This fabric here is a black and white, or is it, it's, you know, black and whitish, blackish, whitish, greyish. It's got some grey tones in there too. A merino jersey. It's actually a rib knit. I think it's a rib knit. I think that's what I would call it. But it's nice and thick and very airy. I think this will be, and it's a good weight to it. I have got a plan for this, and this is going to be the Poppy Cocoon dress by, and I've just temporarily forgotten her name. I think it's DIY Sewgirl or something Sewgirl, but this is going to be, if you have seen a previous video of mine, my sister Sarah and I trying to recreate a ready-to-wear dress that Sarah saw, and I've got this pattern in mind in this fabric, and I think that will be a very snuggly and comfortable dress that probably will become a sort of a foundation piece in my wardrobe, I think. This piece of fabric here, you have seen this before. I probably showed it to you about this time last year, but when I was going to be making a winter wardrobe, but I ran out of time, life got in the way, and this is a really beautiful wool that I got from Miss Maud. It's got a little bit of a, it's not exactly a lurexy thread, but it's got, you know, a whole bunch of different colours in there. It's a navy base, even though it might not look, sort of an inky, deep inky navy base. And so I didn't get a lot of this. This was at a time when I thought I was actually going to make a Staley top out of this, which I suppose I might still do actually. That might still be what I do with that. But other than that, I've got really no particular plans for this, but I do want to make it up because it's a beautiful piece of snuggly wool fabric. And I probably could make either side actually. That side's a bit more furry and textured, and this side's a bit more smooth. So I'm not quite sure what side I would put out, but I think that would be actually lovely in a Staley. So maybe I'll go back to that idea. This is the last piece of fabric I will show you today. How much do I have of this? I think I bought, what have we got here? Would it be 2.5 meters? This is a boiled wool. That's the smooth side, and that is the textured side. And this boiled wool, well, it might probably have to be a Tessuti Brooklyn coat. This I can see being a wonderfully super snuggly, comfortable, I just want to wear it now, indoor piece. This will be some kind of raw edged sort of Tessuti type pattern. They do some great patterns for boiled wool, and if I don't have the Brooklyn, I know I've got something else. I'm pretty sure I've got the London jacket, but so you can see I don't really need to buy any fabrics for my wintry, autumny wardrobe, but I probably will need to buy some patterns, so that's always exciting, isn't it? So that is part one over of this discussion about my seasonal, autumny, wintry capsule module collection of clothing. As I said earlier, I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to get started. There are some other things I'm making at the moment, but if I start sewing these now, we're in literally middle of summer here in New Zealand, although you wouldn't know it because of our stupid weather. But if I start sewing some of the lighter pieces, you know, from around about now, no pressure, I've got plenty of time. And then later as the year progresses, I can start sewing some of the heavier weight things out of boiled wool, etc. Then come autumn, I'll be ready to go. I'll have all my amazing wardrobe sorted and I'll know exactly what I'm wearing. So I hope that was a little bit interesting to you, and I hope you will come back and have a look at my next video next week where I talk about the lighter weight pieces that I'll be making. And yeah, I will see you then. I hope you're all well and happy and doing lots of sewing. And yeah, look forward to seeing you again next week. See ya.